Hey, welcome to my YouTube channel. Please take note of the risk disclaimer. Everything provided in the video is strictly for educational purposes. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can also like and share the video with your friends and family. You can also find us on Facebook as Mason's FOREX Trading and Investments. Today I want to cover or do a follow-up on my previous video, which was FOREX Trading Setups for April 2021. Detailed explanations. If we look at this chart, which is US Tech 4-hourly chart, this is the MetaTrader 4 platform. We discussed this in the video. I think it was approximately 50 minutes or more in the previous video that I have covered the NAS 100 setup. So we have identified these two levels, which are in the red lines or the red areas, as our support or resistance. So 13,354.2 and approximately 13,275.4. We were actually looking for a signal in this area and for price to reach this level. The pink line or the pink area is approximately 13,576.4. So we identify this as a potential support or resistance. So back to the 15-minute chart. So before price expanded to the upside, we were approximately in this area. We favored price reaching, I think it was approximately here, and then rotating. In our case, we never received that signal in this area which was identified, but I wanted to bring to your attention what you can use as a tool. If you place a box within this identified area, as mentioned before, price will do whatever it wishes to do. In this case, it never reached this identified area and it rotated somewhere around there. Let me increase the size. You can see price reached this level and then it shifted up as we anticipated. But what's the challenge in Forex trading? I think the biggest challenge in Forex trading is finding the suitable levels. Doing an analysis is quite easy in my opinion, because we did identify that price expanded or went in the up direction. So the challenge is we identify this area and now price never reached this area. So taking this line into consideration, or this price level rather, up to this point approximately, you'll see we moved approximately 2,965 pips. So that's quite a bit of, or rather it's a considerable amount of movement, and we could have profited from that move. So we could, as a type of plan B, we can adopt this plan B in our trading plan. What we can do is, if price does not come to roughly this area or this line, since we have a reference point on our left here, we can identify and say to ourselves that should we get a signal in this area, anywhere in this area, then we immediately take the trade. So that can help as a type of plan B in our case, since we could not get an entry here. So if you expand this chart, so I'm not sure if you guys have profited from this example, but there definitely was an opportunity to get involved in here. And if you manage to pick it up, if you look at our notes under bullish price structure, you notice we have a very similar pin bar strategy, which is actually shown here. If you look at this candle here, this red candle, which is a type of spinning top, and then we have another type of spinning top here, and then we have this bullish engulfing candle. Also, we are in a significant area, which is this price structure which I'm showing. So going back, we could have profited from this move. This is a lovely entry. Let me try and draw it for you. If you look at it, if you look what's going on here, we have something like this. Something like this. We can define it as 3-bar reversal. So we have something like a signal entry or a type of line, just to signify or simplify this potential entry. So it's very similar to that, and hence if you took this trade, you could have made this amount of pips, because we did mention we expect it to come somewhere around this pink line or this pink area. So you could have made 2,616 pips. So you can see we're keeping things simple. I only have an ATR here, so I personally use the ATR for a stop loss. So in our case, you might be asking, why were we looking for something, or rather for a signal down at the bottom of this price level? Well, if you use a stop loss, and let's say we place a stop loss here, I'm going to change the color. I'm going to use black for this example. If we determine that we want to use a stop loss, one of the examples that I used to, or how I get or use my stop loss, is I use this indicator known as the average true range. And if you look at the 14, it simply means it's a 14-day period. So what I do is, if I go to the crosshair and I place my line approximately, let's just say, to that specific entry point, and I get my number. If you go to the right hand side, it's 9.31. Yes, it's okay. It's actually approximately, so we can line it up. Okay, it's actually approximately 8.22. So I will use 8.22 as my stop loss. So that would be equivalent to so the 8.22 actually means 82 pips. So I normally would, based on my testing, or rather back testing, from this point from the candle which is the lowest. If you look at this model, this figure or picture, I would place a stop loss 82, approximately 82 pips away. So let me show you what I would have done. I would place a stop loss approximately 82 pips. If we put a line just approximately here. So this is the different entry technique or different method using the ATR. So this could have been a potential entry, but back to this line or this area which I've mentioned. See if I can minimize this chart. Let me remove that line. Earlier on, or in the previous video rather, we mentioned we were approximately looking for a stop loss here and we wanted price to come here. If we had a entry here and you measure this distance, if you take this distance from this potential entry, if we manage to get it, so the stop loss area is just for educational purposes. It was just to give one a potential clue, because we have this previous structure here and a stop loss below it made an ideal example. Okay, so if you calculate, or rather if you use the graphs here, you'll see we are approximately 362 pips. So we could have had a 362 pip loss if we entered here at this specific point as initially intended. So if we decided to enter in this at this current point, and this pink line is, if we decided to enter at this line or this point here, and you measure, it's now 716 pips. So we now have a larger stop loss. So if price went against us and we entered at this specific point here, we would have had a 716 pip loss. If price came lower into this area, we could have had a much smaller stop loss. So hence, reaching at the lower point could have been the better option. So it will vary. It will depend on your back testing, and you would have to decide how you want to place your stop loss. So I've given you a lovely trick, which is the ATR. You can see our loss could have been 83 pips if price went against us. But if you look at our gain is very phenomenal, because we have reached our potential target. So I hope that gives you more options in your trading, and it might sound difficult if you're a beginner, but I promise you, if you commit to your testing or back testing, you would skill yourself in such a way that you're able to have different plans and different execution techniques. I want to show us the Great Britain Pound USD. So this is a daily chart. Again, we identified this potential setup in my previous video. So if you decide to trade on the daily chart, currently you can see we have a red candle in this area, which is this one. Currently the price is 1.38323. and today is the 6th of April 2021. So in hindsight, if you view this chart, we don't have any strategies or signals or some sort of technique to enter. So I want to show you this technique. What you can do is you can go to a lower time frame. If you've identified your area, you can see this is the area where we have identified, and if you look on the 4-hour chart, suddenly we see a type of engulfing bar in this area. And then what we can do is we can go to the 1 hourly charts or the 1 hour charts, and suddenly we can have a potential entry. And if you look in here, or if you have already spotted it or found it, you can see we actually have two entries here. First, if you look at this area, I'm going to draw it for you. It's one candle there. We have, sorry, one candle there. There's something like that. And we have something like this. If you look at our notes, you can see it's very similar to a pin bar, with one bar on this side and one bar on the side, which closes larger. Very similar to this, almost a type of 3-bar reversal. And then also in this area, I believe we have an entry. I'm going to draw it on the side just to make things easy. We have this green candle represented by this line. This candle, this other green candle, we can represent it something as that. And then in our case, we have this lovely engulfing candle. So this red candle, I'm just for representation sakes going to show it like this. You can even, if you draw it like this, just for explanation purposes. So you can see there's a type of 3-bar reversal. So there's one entry here. If you haven't managed to enter at that point of time, you could have entered this specific area. Back to the notes. So you can see we have a pin bar where we've explained, or we already have the pin bar set up in our notes, and then we have this engulfing bar. The engulfing bar strategy is very similar to this. So we could have taken this example here, this signal or this entry. We could have also potentially entered on the close of this candle, because we have something very similar to this setup. So yes, and it's also in the significant area which we identified previously. So you could have been, if you entered on the close of this candle, this red candle here, let us measure, you can see you could have made some money around 68 pips. Or if you were not able to enter on that candle, and let's say you entered on this candle close, again, you could have made some money. So I hope this adds value in your trading. You can see how identifying the levels in advance, we do more often than not reach these levels and react. So thank you for watching the video. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel, like and share this video with your friends and family, and goodbye.